Porra, toma 매번 단다 빠르겠어나. 근데 살겨den서 참아. 근데 이게 시간 좀 야 풀샤요. 네. 먹고니 맞죠. 와. 맞아. 이거. 음. 오케이. 좀 내내 샤워한다 좀 봐야 한다 머리속에 상계를 받아 셔도 대화를 시험하지 시험하게 우주를 바로 민나게 덤바 상계 좀 내내 배겨와 셔야 또 받아 셔서 우주 여주지요 Utumbo jomde de deshin shawara jomba yanda varzobe sangye repo do jatsu dempa dewa shiva jizye dempa ge uduve Jomba sanje jomde de pe dempa shagya doba Chanso shudu jatsu de shen xiaoheng zha zhongba yang da lu ben san jie ba san xiao zi dian ba de wa le xie ba ji din jian ba ye wen de ma na le ba le ma ye san jie zhong den de be jiao wa xia ya lu ba la zha zi yao zi Zo ge dan se sa xian de la gong pa du po ne an de ji de de na po ji zong de zhe ge wa ju la zhao an ba gong ma zhe de 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 shi ga su se ji hong bo ra ma ji de song na Jo Tenpa Timen Da Veja Tedon Rawa Gela Gemda Siva Suma Ji Nyame Tiji Gela Jato Tuje Chetemba Tamje Gembe Dava Sono yedin yapso jin lezin zevzo de yeven sole projin Çego tandan çok yorba şiir şumaza Prove lande lamba dala Yin Dhamma Yuen Din Lion Shou Xiang Mei Jia Xin Dewa Kun Song Zhou Burjir Rangi Sen Yang Sen De Deme Sanje Dembari Karma Rari Mame Dhamma Yuma Silva Chu Buddha Melan Lodan Tinda Gu Dushi Shunam De Narta Danandi Tansi Sipai Gohan Tode Bigke Radu Kadanadan Shive Lakshu Sive Sode Prova Prova To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the full destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, nor of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, make offerings and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world, to you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, in the places in the 3 worlds, winner of the vast Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, colored like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one God of thusness, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. It is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba
Kunjo
Gunjo
Sumla Jo Zulu Dige Dage Dubo Dije Na Jundende Gyogo Ga Jago Kumbo Rela Gelon Ge Gende Chembo Da Chanjo Sembe Gende Chembo Da Da Jede Shede De Se Chomdende Zamo Na Wa She Jave Shige Na Range Dinge Zela Nyongwa Shuzo Yande Se Janju Semba Semba Jimbo Baba Jire Se Wanju Shera Ki Bharu Tu Jimba Sabon Jubo Jilo Nambara Tajin Bumbo Mambo De Dalaya Jingi Dombara Nambara Tene Sange Ki Tu Sedan Demba Shari Janju Semba Semba Jimbo Baba Jire Se Wanju Cheme So Rige Bo Kanga Sheru Ki Bharu Tu Jimba Sabon Jeba Jeba Deba De Jitar Labarja De Ge Cheme Bodan Janju Semba Semba Jimbo Baba Jire Se Wanju Ki Sedan Demba Shari Da De Bula De Ge Cheme So Shari Bu Rigi Bhuvan Rigi Bhumo Gala Shiragi Bharu De Jimba Samo Cheba Cheba Deba De Didar Nambar Tawar Jase Bhumbo Mabo De Dala Yara Shiki Dombar Nambar Yanda Var Jesu Tau Su Domba O Domba Ni Zuzo Zule Domba Ni Shemayin Domba Ni Lekyan Su Shemayin Dejendo Tuwa Dandu She Dandu She Dan Nambar Sheba Nam Domba O Sharibu De Da Fe Kanje Domba Ni De Tsini Meba Majeva Magava Shima Meba Shima Dan Chewa Shiva Meba Gamba Meba O Sharibu De Da Wenga Domba Ni La Sume Sorwa Me Dishi Me Dishi Me Nambar Sheba Me Jime lume yime zume jame jime lume rijame jume lume ge game bane yige game yige nama sheve gamge parto yame do mari bame seba me bane gajime gaji sebe madu yame do deje do tonga Kunjo madam go badam lame yishime toba me ma toba yame do Deta wena janjo zimbana toba me bishir shiragi paru do jimba latin jins Samo cheba meji traba me de jinde lole shindu de nyange le debe taru shindu de zundu number chulper sanje damje gyan shiragi paru do jimba latin lana me bayan da bar zobe chanju do ngobar
San Jesu
Dedawena Sheraki Barudu Shimbema, Riba Shimbema, Lana Mebema, Nyambata Nyambema, Dunga Tamjiradu Shivar Shibema, Mizuwena Dembar Shivar Jade Sheraki Barudu Shimbema, Meba Tayada, Gande Gande Bara Sangade Bodhi Soho. Janjo Samba Samba Jimbo de Darjeragi Varudu Jimbo Zamo Lala Varjao. Then Jom then Dingus and the Legend Janjo Samba Samba Jimbo. Awa Chenres and Wanjo Let's go Jawa Jin and let's go Riki Go Dedishino Edish. Ziragigi Demba Jindu Ziragi Varudu Jimbo Samo Cheparajade Deshi Chepa Namkyan Jesu Yirana Jomden Degi Degi Cheka Tselne Sedan Debo Sheri Tadi Kuda Chanjo Sempa Sempa Jimbo Baba Shiri Se Wancho Tantam Chetan Debe Puru De Dodon Kadon Mitan Hamayin Rizajebe Jili Yirana Jomden Degi Sompa Omara Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examined all phenomena called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the value aggregates by nature empty. Then, to the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and cease. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eye, no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to, there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no death. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond, and because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, for there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering, the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirits, their hearts full of reverence, praise the words of the Blessed One, so ends the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
Lamrim Lamrim Chenye Chag, Lamrim Chenye Chag, Land, Sugar, Lama, Sugar, but Sugar, Sunga, Sanjay, Sunga, that town at Deba. Mamma show Tanga Jamo to the Lizio, the Giri, and that Kangatanium, to Unit, Sandy Lamrim, saving your and Sandy Lamrim, to that full of Tandig in Yumbu to Unit. When young men ship it, you in the animal, Lamrim Tosun Cheva Yena. 송라 탐제라 표선 제배 거쳐봐. 송라 탐제가 일을 샤르투바 되게 차단 연구가 해서
It is Sunday and we resume the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. This is an introduction to the Buddha Dharma presented through the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. When we instruct in the text, listen to the text, it is to penetrate the countless heaps of the Dharma, the many innumerable scriptures of the Buddha Dharma, all of which are condensed into the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. All is there in essence form, available for practice with the methods for practice. And when one trains and studies and listens to the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, one may comprehend the meaning of all the scriptures, and the meaning embedded in the scriptures appears to the mind clearly.
Oh, yes, that's one of the Lamrim Duyor, Tanyam's land was raised. Tanyam's land, that's one of the Duyati, and Yam's land, the battery. Tanyam's land, the busing it, that's one of the Tanda to Duyon. I know the same do it, but the shaggy or send that send it around the Namshat thoughts in the shaggy or that he should be. Oh, even on that same do it, but the shell do, and it's not a country you would do a Tadaka do you need Demba say that your will resonance.
All the scriptures of the Buddha Dharma condensed into the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment in essence form means that essence is the sequence or steps involved in the pacification of the mind. All of those steps in the series for the pacification of the mind are condensed and present in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. This is principally the meaning of the essence for the practice available for the pacification of the mind.
Oh, that's a doing Yams language, that's what Yams language to the Rats and the Yams land, they do good as an that's Suzuki. Other Suzuki Yams land riba, Homa, that under Lambda must not go, Yason and go to the Dendro Nationality, Sapoma, Saja about the drug we are. That drag is Lamdi, and that Lamdi ribati. And this is Yamslam, what they need to show table the go said, Lamiriba, Kansachi, Comanche, Yamlem, go to Ne, and Tarsanji, not about the Lamiriba to that. Chasanchi, Shebaina, and then Mura Tanji turn around to Lamba, Chavi or response.
As the essence is there, present, whether it is undertaken in practice is your decision alone. And how it is practiced, it will be practiced in stages. In the stages that progress inevitably from the hell realms into greater fortunes, from greater fortunes to the greater fortunes of mounting the bodhisattva bhumis, and then upward through the bodhisattva bhumis to eventually the ultimate state of Buddhahood. These are the path. This is the path with its stages. It begins at the very entry point to the Buddha Dharma and its practice, and continues onward, available for any single person, beginning wherever they might, culminating inevitably in the achievement of Buddhahood. All of these stages are present in the path, and this is what is available for practice.
Oh, yes, that's the music Yamslam, that kind of say your ass, na? And that Tamo caught from calling you to do. You would chumuki Lamiriba, among your song with Dungashe. Song with Dunga, the any Dunga nurture, Dunga nurture, and a song with Dungele, your teacher. And then God in a song with Dungele Tarva Seva, Tarage, Dunga nurture, the Tele Tarva Seva, Lamtema is that, and go to 기부 충국을 남겨를 봤으니 뭐는 시에 거야 돼 아무 동네 라바디게 동네 라바도 뭐 주지 안 되게 동네 뭐 주네 동네들 탄도 삼바케죠 뭐다 동네들에 타르바 삼바치도 좀 땅에 중국 삼바케 버렸어 나 중국 삼바케 하는데 아니 기부 충국을 남기고 나는 말이게 돼 상글을 해서 놓지
in the availability of the stages of the path to any single person, any one person. How does it progress? It progresses inevitably from that access point, that is the Dharma of lesser scope. The Dharma of lesser scope with its presentation of the sufferings of hell as an introduction to, and for the purpose of, developing a revulsion toward samsara and cyclic existence. That revulsion underlies the desire that arises in the mind to be liberated from cyclic existence. This is the introduction. An introduction to this is found in the Dharma of lesser scope. From this Dharma of lesser scope and its presentation of the rough, just the roughest, the rough form of suffering, then the mind develops its desire to be liberated. And this is renunciation. With the development of renunciation, all of the stages of the Dharma of lesser scope have been filled.
야, 다디네 야 공부니바제들 아니 코랑 동의계란 시임바 다 코알라 내 사회제라니 동의계란 시임바 다 동의들 타르바 제고고요 마타르다 아니 동의 못하는 영대 그래서 난 타르바 제가 남 영향을 탄다 아니 타르바스는다 코알라 타르바스는 타르바기 이 코알라 신 동의임바 동의들 타르바 남 남대 여바 tellateni tarbaden tabe yebe겠다 남자 코알라 타레가 좀 시험도 아니 기부 징기 남자 좀 시험 거래 손지.
Then the second step, the second stage Dharma of the middling scope is the presentation of cyclic existence generally as characterized necessarily by suffering. The moment one takes birth again into cyclic existence, one's experience is necessarily one of pain and suffering. Thus, the necessity of achieving liberation from cyclic existence. This is liberation, the liberation from the bondage of samsara. Samsara is of the nature necessarily of suffering. The path that shows this, the path and the result, these are stages of the Dharma of middle scope.
다랑 코알라 타르바 여바 된제겠다 타르바 여바다 타르제 람 여바다 타르투구 여바 되게 내사도 아니 대배체네다 딜라 때네 아니 진양 타르바 토베 여바 타바로 그 줘야 여바 역투구 여바 된제겠다 탐지kin 보관스니 여바시 딜라다 토베야기 유다 람데 데위시온도 좀 많이 기부 침묵을 남기는 바도 연구를 해서
But the personal understanding of the necessity of liberation from cyclic existence, the understanding that one wishes to be liberated from cyclic existence, one extrapolates to all others and understands that they too must be liberated from cyclic existence. Not only that, but they may be liberated from cyclic existence. They may be protected, and they may be through the achievement of complete and perfect omniscient Buddhahood. Omniscient Buddhahood, that it exists, is presented and understood as part of the Dharma of greater scope.
다디네 모델 하면 그거 톱산이 단도 팽개요 말 동행이랑 실내 탈이요 말 동행을 탈면 동행을 탈바세요 탈바 도백을 남들 되고 남자 시험도 잡아 내가 그게 기부 쟁기 남자 딜래 다랑 코알 탈바 여바 이만 나시 시행 코알 탈기 여바 탈베 람 여바 탈베 고반 여바 탈 투에 누가 찾아 여바 되게 로장도 아니 기부 친구랑 이렇게 말로 장 어쩌다 르바디게 될 가사치기다 가다 르바디게 가가 장고요 그래서
one first recognizes that there would be a liberation from hell, develops a revulsion toward the experience of hell, and practices consistent with this, and this is the Dharma of the lesser scope. And then through this, one achieves greater fortune, the fortune of birth as human being and as heavenly being. But this, nor is this enough, as cyclic existence is still defined by pain and suffering. Until one is liberated from cyclic existence generally, there is no satisfaction. So the aspiration to liberation from cyclic existence generally, not merely from the hell realms. And then the further step that follows the recognition that just as I wished for liberation, so too must all sentient beings be liberated from cyclic existence. And there exists a path to secure them that liberation. And there exists a result of that path. And they have the capability of achieving that too. And with these recognitions, one is informed in the steps and stages of practice of the Dharma of greatest scope.
Oh, yeah, that's you do the bata, Karichas, no? Thank Malang Kulundi, Nijungi Sambe Simba Majuna, and Karichi Marsna, call a Tarbi, Yula to Mares. Oh, that don't need to be shared with Simba Sems, don't need to be shared with Simba de Mazuna, Tarbi Yula to Mares. No, that hang Sem Kulunda, Semdi, and you should be Simba Mazuna.
Then what? Based upon the refinement of one's mind, first, there must be renunciation. Lacking renunciation, there is no liberation from cyclic existence. Torwe and tarlam meba ra and yejumena and correlate tarlam gu meba. Without renunciation, there is no liberation from hell. Without penetrating insight into emptiness, there is no cause for liberation. And without great compassion, there is no cause for complete and perfect omniscient Buddhahood. Understand these three.
Oh, yes, that's that. You do want to is Sunga, that chicken yams along do. I mean, that you lam your bottom yams along passing that, but Chago this one.
So all of these available to any one person compose the stages we speak of.
Oh, yeah. He did about that and the Lamrim Chenye Chevala, Lamir Chenye Chidangi carried the Tambo Kulung, the Chenmo or Kulung the Mena, Karicheva the children to whom I was a Tambo children to have a Chidula, and he made Jungle Sambata, and then Tony to the share of the Simbata, Chanjus and the Ninjik Simba to go here. The Yonga Chevala Kulung Tone, some town or some town, Chimang is only my give a chicken Sanani. Chimang is only my give a dead to a chicken sana, and it song Pagatit and Jung Samba Simba Chavi Ores. I didn't tell you to be share of Simba or some tongue and Tarvecula to Wiores. And that Hadan of the Lamrim, Lamrim of the Chigi way, Lamrim did, or Tipachi, Yamnichi, Shigi way, and it rang some of the round Tarva to Nig somebody, Pamerce. She ain't Tabal Gober Chow, some Samba Tig Simba Wiores.
In the teaching of the Dharma, in listening to the Dharma, how ought this to be done? Through refinement of the intention, that is all important. Where there is no refined intention, the person's attitude is not conducive to the Dharma. So that which is required for thought process to be toward the Dharma is renunciation in the first place. Conjoined with renunciation, then there are causes for liberation from hell. Conjoined with insight penetrating emptiness, there is cause for liberation from cyclic existence generally. One must consider these to refine one's outlook. Understand that failing to develop renunciation, there will be no liberation from hell. Failing to penetrate emptiness, there is no cause for liberation from cyclic existence generally. But we find ourselves now invested in the Mahayana Dharma, which entails dispensing with self-interest and prioritizing the interests of others that they may achieve liberation.
that's 이거 전부 꿀ung 쥐어봐 주나. 선제 탐지가 좀 산지 고마 토바 자기 뒤치도 내 산지 고바 좀 마토바 되기면도 토바 자오 산데 선바 되기 꿀ung도 쥐어봐 이나 꿀ung 신바 개마쥐나야 강가 거쳐 주고 해서
다들 선진 선생님이 대화라고 말하자 닝에 산게
산지기 고반로 토벌 차베 치도 아니 산지 고반 토벌 치고도 삼바저와 디레그 삼바도 그런데 쪄봐이나 그런 치료들에 이 그런 쪄봐이나 그런 셴바가 배 쪄봐 거치고 그래서
Here in the Mahayana Dharma, the outlook is all sentient beings must be established in the state of lasting satisfaction, contentment of Buddhahood. To that end, there is no means available apart from my own achievement of Buddhahood. Therefore, I commit myself to achieving Buddhahood. This is the refined intention. The intention refined in this way entails the ensuing of all other positive attitudes. If one did not develop the other attitudes, yet develop this mind, the others would naturally ensue.
수수기 때는 뭐 공부적이나 자 준비적이나 그 준비 치료될 때도 제바이나 준비 중앙으로 맞아는 되기도 와. 아니 준비 수수도 내주를 거다를 치대 그를 거다시 아니 내도 쉬어야 봐. 어디나 신체 수수 강도 단다 스쿨ung 당번에 꿀ung 첨부도 쥐셔와이나 꿀ung 중앙으로 그걸 빌고 그래.
It's the same as something like the court system. If the judge in the Supreme Court rules the decision is definite, and then the appellate courts and the things must recognize it as well. So it is any decision by an officer, any officers beneath that position must abide by it and follow by that. So it is with refining the intention according to the Mahayana Dharma.
나도 최신이 말이나 최신이나 최세바대양 아니 신이 줄라 규민을 지에 줄라 좋아쇼 신상지가 사용 고반토에 줄라 좋아 고비 줄라 좋아쇼 삼모다 최신이나야 최년바디 아니 나 랑기 근도미니 마마에 신 코네시도 이 삼모 대야베 신 심지 탐지 대화 탐지기면 고반로 고비치도 이 삼모 대지 구릉세 돈 년바이나 아니 최년바가 피버치를 줘라 도고 요래 손으로
In teaching the Dharma, one teaches to ripen the continua of the disciples, that all that is involved in the instruction becomes cause for their achievement of Buddhahood. And for the listener too, they listen that the study of the Dharma may become cause for the well-being of others, that they may achieve through one's listening to the Dharma Buddhahood. If one refines one's intention at the outset in this way, this is the Mahayana intention.
이제 꿀ung주도 되지 말았다. 나는 최신이 지단 강하고보다 꿀ung도 지우고요. 제가 꿀ung주도 되고 뭐도 차라지 해서.
Now that is the process for refining the mind in instructing in the Dharma, in listening to the Dharma. This is how one must refine one's mind, and then we can conclude this section here.
다 대인도 건도 남는 친이 지야 되다. 건도 남는 친이 지야발라. 남는 좀 원조 무시 죽숨 이 난에다 원조 자주 무시지 자주 셈. 다 줄라게 받쳐가 보내야 돼. 다 자주 셈 줄라게 받쳐발라. 아니 자주 셈 줄라게 받쳐가 초 손이 자친보다 대먹고 그래. 대체도라 원로 저 추투 저는 저 추투디 아니 참 무시 이 용약의 유리인데 원로 최시 셰고요. 원로 추투나는 방법나서는 추투가 아니 명아 유대 정해서 차와 생각이 sab지 디나는 어떻게 시작이 열어서 그래서 Yes.
In instruction in the Dharma and listening to the Dharma will be comprised of the preliminary, the actual, and the conclusion of the practice. The development of the mind of awakening is the practice. In order to develop the mind of awakening, one must have sufficient store of autonomy, must have completed the collections. And to the end of accumulation of the collections, one engages in the preliminary practices. The preliminary practices themselves are cause for the success in the actual practice. So the importance of the preliminary practices. And of the 6 preliminary practices, we have completed 5, which leaves us in the 6th. Which is the integration of the oral pith instruction.
가가 내가 찍도 제버들이 고고르잖아. 뒤에 냠네 개침보시라래. 아니 나는데 간다 라면 나디 아니 라기 뒤도로 맞게 맞구나. 아니 냠네 마상으로 차기요. 그래서
Now, the integration of the oral instruction with and into one's mind is critical. When wherever this has yet to happen, there will be no realization.
나 이 아주 가장 람리 신예도 가르쳐서 아니 라마디 상업 다가지나 라마 제게 진고스테 지난 소신 세답이어래 아니 소소그 소신은 또 라마진 세답샤여 방도 다다 람리 지난 람리 그 소신 세답에 되라 난 통화랑 지는 세답에 되다 아니 나다 제니여나 저 라마 세답샤여 제가 단단 가서 제니 라빈 시기 요바 인도 아니 지기 또 라마로 상품도 상차되어서 라마 세답이어서
In the tradition of the Kadamba, in the instruction in the Dharma therein, is involved the visualization of the merit field surrounding the principal, the Guru. In the Sutric tradition, that principal guru will be Shakyamuni Buddha. In the tradition of the Mantrayana, the principal guru will be one's root guru. As we are concerned with the presentation of the secret Mantrayana, then principal and center in the merit field is Manindra Vajradhara.
yes, that's lama not the lama say tabayina. 아니 다 질라비 유루와 아니 되게 개발이 여버리 근데 이들도 맞다 라마 지 소식 또 라마로서 토지자 샤고래 어쨌든 알아서 제도 제도 제도가 있나요 딱 한다 람 유루바디 아주 되고 열어서 대신에 람 유바 용해야 탑라 아니 지금 거기 소식이 또 라마 공부도 어떻게 해서
In the secret Mantrayana and its tradition of visualization, the purpose is the more rapid development of realization, the more rapid penetration of the blessing. This is the principal difference here in the Mantrayana. The reason for placing Manindra Vajradhara centermost in the merit field. As we are disciples to be tamed, we wish for the fastest penetration of the blessing of the merit field, and so we place Manindra Vajradhara in the center.
Oh, yeah, it's that indeed, Lama, the Chilab Shuni, Manga, Judah, Tebas, and the Chil Lamegi, Kusun to be Chilab, Rangi Julama, Jubber, Chive, Chidula, and the Lama saw them, and Chilama, Rangi Julama, Bever Chihu, said that the Chidula, and the Sunday, yes, hunting, yes, and that, and the Jojota, Lamrim, Picasula, and then on the Sunday city, Jojo Casanting, yes, but lost through the danger then, which we are as
The guru is situated centermost as principal, and we make the request to the merit field and to the guru there, the request that the integration of their oral instruction succeed and penetrate the mind as their blessings of body, speech, and mind, penetrating our own continuum. So the reason for the petition which is made. The petition is made, and then that descent of nectar is drawn from the guru and the merit field. And this, as a practice, is set aside as its own practice in the text titled Ornament to the Throat of the Fortunate. There, the 6 preliminary practices and this practice of petition is included.
오야 말한다 간다 그래서나 라마라 간다랑게 소와 맞나 아니 칠랍 마시고 말해서 가져다 건도셔반 칠랍 좀 말. 칠랍 마시나 라는 모두 얘기 말해. 제가 모두 얘기 배치돌라 아니 칠랍 쇼고래 칠랍 쇼베시도 소왔다 보고 와지나 콘도 저어도 되어서 지금은 좀 이제 차 되어서나 근데 시작해서 뭐 자기 열에서
Without a request made to the guru, there will be no conferral of the blessing. Without a conferral of that blessing, then there can be no achievement of the siddhi. So it is a relationship of cause and effect. Where one is absent, then necessarily its effect will be absent. So the importance of the request.
아니 꾸시게 다니게 강리도 강리를 빼자 강리도 라마 꾸시 강리라 시제 아니 질럽 근데 누구 진이 마셔놨어 뭐 강리 되라 아니 님에그 마포나 님에 강리를 마포나 아니 강리를 추슈 강쇼게 말해 강 마시는 추마 밥게 말와 대나시 라마로 소암 랑스 먹을 거든 대베톤에 아니 소암 맞다 라메기 질럽지 마 밥게 말랑 밥게 말했어. 계산 라메 질럽 밥을 제발라 하는 방법 수에 누구지 좋았다 보네. 오 대제 임바데 아니 빼자는 송구요 해서.
Allora, non so, si cade gamba. Jason. The guru that is the person of the 4 Buddha bodies is a white snow mountain, and if it were ever in shadow and there were no sunlight falling upon that mountain, then there would be no snow melt. Without the melting of the snow, there would be no cascades. And so it is that we, through devotion and respect for the guru, make the petition that there be sunlight upon this snow mountain, that the snow will melt, and that there will be the cascades of blessing.
Oh yeah, 라마지 다르상 하나도 꾸시게 다니츠 람 꾸시가 수드니 하나도라 질랍나니스나면도 나바샤르바디 라마지 차대요. 그다음 꾸시 다니스. 아니 강리디 강도 강리디 라마디 강리다 빼차. 아니 랑기 대배다 무베기 손데디 외세다 빼차. 오야 제가 외세디 강리를 보나 강리 쇼리요 그래. 강 추바기 물어 대나지 랑기 물고 돈을 쏘았다 봐이나 아니 라마는 쏘았다 봐이나 라메지 고도도 질라다 라마 지고도 연구를 해서
So then the guru who is endowed of the 4 Buddha bodies is then in one 4 Buddha bodies, and the individual who would confer the blessings, they are the guru. They have been likened to the mountain, the snow mountain. Our devotion and respect and the request we make of the guru is likened here to the sunlight. The sunlight will melt the snow on the snow mountain, freeing the cascades of water. These cascades of water are likened to the body, speech, and mind of the guru in their blessing.
Oh, so that and the shajeg jeju tuba shajes that tamba shaje tuba kono shajeg tamba sigro jeju tuba pozola ani kiranzo ta and the sanjegi silab rana bogu duna ani shaje pozo silab rana bogu duna 아니 소화답스 어디 좀비데 그런 깨르는 요래서
Now, you followers of the Shakya, you followers of the Buddha Shakyamuni, should you wish for the blessings of the Buddha, then you must make your request to the Buddha. This is found as instruction in the Jataka tales.
예, 다 소화답을 책이 가진 감도 책 당부디 감도다. 도잘 판대서 논다니까 다 딜라 소화답당 되나 땅아서 가르치는 손대 책이 온다되라. 야지 제주고 라마절로 소화 로스틱다. 사모따주고 아니 라마절로 손대 로스틱도 수수 유바 수수 카페리 아니 냠 손대 치라. 많이 야지 제주고 라마절로 손대 치라. 사모따주고 또 고양이가 제 아니 되네야 고난이 냠도 주 제네 야진 지주고 람다 사모따주고 람니가 주 냠도 냠 무대치네 라마쪽은 냠네 지게서라 양산데 또 대신 소제도 여래서
Isn't there was some double Then the verses of the petition, the first, O glorious and precious Guru, please sit atop my head on cushions of lotus and moon, we've gone through. And then this is followed by the verses that concentrate upon the lineage of extensive deeds and upon the lineage of profound view. These two, generally speaking, are distinguished, that there is the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view. These two, and the means or the way in which a request is made to each is set apart, as the two are different. Then a third lineage is the integration of the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view. And so in this sense, there are these three.
예, 다 대체는 다 용당을 가르스나 더 점대대 불안게 당분은 최고로 꼴도 불안해 아니 야채를 남겨서 받이기디 아니 믿어 마서 지금 직제요 여 참벌 나요 삼을 남겨서 받이 그거 잠배요 나요 그거는 심타고제 나 아니 대제를 수수르게 잠 저와 참박이에요 아니 불안해 제가 이제 좀 파바 통해야 너무 많이 받잖아요. 야채를 남겨서 받이 막 빼요래. 난 공부를 잠배양 공부를 유니스네 삼을 남겨서 막 빼요. 세상 그 규백이 규법 규름도 다 도스파 강한 수수 생활은 또 규법 방안진이 수수도 규법인가 아니 규법이 되게 총알을 해서
And generally speaking, or universally so, from the moment of the Buddha's first turning of the wheel of the Dharma, the presence of the lineage of vast deeds began with the conferral of the responsibility of its continuation by the Buddha to Maitreya, that Maitreya would extend and continue the lineage. And the lineage of profound view, for it, responsibility was given by the Buddha to Manjushri, carefully instructing Manjushri, and so the emergence of the lineage of profound view. And from Maitreya, then the lineage continued through the exceptional disciple of Maitreya Sangha. And in this way, then the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, like two malas with their beads, are present.
야, 근데 이들도 맞다. 간다도 잡아도 간다디 바게 규바도 니 용아 또 선들로 가르쳐 봤으나다. 간다 신들 가르쳐 봐 제발라. 신기 된 가르쳐 봐 제투야라 차게 가르고 그래. 어디 도가 됐으나 자기에 대라 신기 된 가르쳐 봐 고고도나 아니 켐바다 자와니 매도매로 오고 그래. 켐바매나 겹투 말이 자와매나 겹투 말이 제가 켐바다 자와니 유나 겹투고 유바 어디 쳐야 간다라 아니 유바니 또 신화해서
Then principally, what are we shown in the presence of two lineages such as these? What is indicated is that for the consummation of the welfare of all others, two critical conditions are indispensable, and they are wisdom and love. Without wisdom, there is no protecting the vulnerable. Without love, there is no protection of the vulnerable. So these two are found in the two lineages.
이 임바디 셈바 첨바다 저와니 아니 이 권에 아니 떼바치들 근데 좀된 떼서 이 강사 좀된데 권한 친구 이나양 아니 치기 떼단 권에 아니 캠베고는 떼바다 제외고는 떼봤을 때 제시 경고를 해서
떼바람 알레 떼바디 아니 데니 떼카리사 시 떼바 미바 떼바
말 미바 떼바 이소다
떼바
떼바 쳐봐도 걸러다 그냥 들어왔던데 남들 걸 손대 가둘라 아니 야지 주주고는 떼봐서도
알레 떼바 뭐야 these two, then the lineage of wisdom, the lineage of exemplifying love. Actually, the interpreter revises there. These two lineages, with their principles in omniscience, wisdom, and love, then are praised in the verses here. Offerings of praise are made, involved in the petition.
야지 주주고는 두두도 맞지 당고데 잠바냐면 또 좀된 데스라도 잠바냐면스 그다음 잠바냐면 또 좀된 데스는 뭐가 선제 탐제기 아니 동해를 겹투야게 겹투야게 누가 아니 자와 첨부 투지 첨부디 결혼한 아유가 나 예배 기지 제대되는 결혼을 또 잠바냐면 또 좀된 데스 식디고는 또 요래서 잠바스 섬제고 동해를 동해 자들을 잠바셔봐 제베 탑 나나메가 투지 첨부디 결혼한 아유인데 이군 떼봐셔봐서 그랬어.
The line that begins, Master Bhagavan, unparalleled leader, the exalted savior Ajit, supreme Dharma successor. In the line, Master Bhagavan, unparalleled leader. The leadership is the leading of sentient beings, all sentient beings, along the path of liberation from the ocean of sorrow. This leadership is performed through love. It is the leadership and the leading out of the ocean of cyclic existence sufferings, the best, the supreme leader, the one great in their compassion, is praised in the first line.
취했던 심지기 탈신 받아 연구만 제가 취했던 나는 그냥 초도 교바 아니 동반이기 땀 줘봐디 아니 뭐 다음에 동반이기 땀 줘봐라 그 파고매 봐 동반이기 됐던 거 인자 뭐 다음에 봤어 취고 내로 가도 돼봐 되게 심지기 되나 아니 내가 취기 다음에 또 비셔라고 다음에 그 다음 샷 때봐 인자 아니 콜로 뭐 다음에 봤으면 배 치기 비주단기 그래서
마와 다음에 봐라.
다음에 봤을
라
카드면
다음에 봐.
또 다음에 봤을 콜로 전달시키면
네 아니 홀을 여기로
어디 왔리게
라 아니 그래도 딕스
다음에 봤지
마왔다
챔버다 가도 고
라 딕스
챔버라는
later in the praise, then the unrivaled, the omniscient one, unrivaled in their eloquence, is praised, which is praise for that propounder of the profound Dharma. Among topics of the profound Dharma, most profound of all is the absence of the self, the indication of the ultimate nature of reality, the propounding of selflessness then is in all the eloquent utterances of the Buddha Dharma, supreme of all. And so praise is made to the unequaled, omniscient, eloquent one.
다디네 기들 디어 냠네 칠럽 주바스 냠네 칠럽 주바스도 겨와 도지 창네 마준 아니 다자랑게 당원 배 도지 생게 넘버 때에 라마티 주바되게 차대요 그래서
These two praises then are praises of the two lineages that are situated to the right and to the left, the lineage of extensive deeds, the lineage of profound view, and then in the center is the lineage of the blessings of practice, which begins with with the lineage holder Vajradhara and the authority of that lineage transferred, beginning with Vajradhara Bhata.
예스던 냠네 칠럽 집에 주바디 다디 장야 로장야 가르쳐 거스나 다시 냠디 하사 한다디 맹아니가 수냠도 전 다자지 야치베 남주를 받아 사물 남주를 받니가 아니 송도 제일 냠네 치들이 공부요 그래서
This lineage of blessed practice is the lineage that is the integration of the lineages of extensive deeds and profound view. Both the lineages of extensive deeds and profound view are integrated into one in the lineage of the blessings of practice.
어디들 세상다 간다 냥 초이송제 송도 제는 시리즈마다 간다 야치베 남주 리반의 셰베 창주 생기 군조 창주 생기 남주 리바 아무 남주 일반의 셰베 아니 동반이기다 또 가다 그 담된다기다 남주 리바다 어디 소냠도 송도 제는 나 냠술된 주고 리바들에 손시
The practice of the lineage of blessed practice is where the lineage of vast deeds and profound view are unified. That principal practice of the lineage of extensive deeds, bodhicitta, conventional bodhicitta, unified with that profound view of the lineage of profound view, the view of emptiness, the ultimate truth. These two are unified in the lineage of blessed practice in the mantra, mantrayana.
오야 단단아 제면은 남이 짱바 지고 냠내 지에는 지 냠내 치라 지고 그거 냠내 지고 제고 말했어 예 얘기 야진 주요도 사무다지 냠내 가다 쳐야래 아니 나 냠내데 제리 유나 아니 이거 출제네 다른 데 지 냠내 지도 주고 아마 주고 냠내 나와서
Not give lama.
맞지를 주고
Marde ani yupati yupati
그쪽으로
jinlap nyamlen jinlap
이봐서 냠내 치를 이봐서
If a practice is not involved in mantrayana, if one's practice is not of the mantrayana, then this middle lineage hasn't got to be visualized. If one is involved in the mantrayana, then one incorporates the lineage of blessed practice. Without the mantrayana, one may have to the left and to the right the two principal lineages. If one is involved in mantrayana, then also too included is that center lineage wherein the principles of the vast deeds and profound view are integrated in the lineage of blessed practice.
어떻게 먼저 살았어요. 다들 자진 주주되고 라마들라 가정가 라마 다들 모습 빼져나가 장대와들 라마 줍시 장요. 자진 주주되다 라마 줍시세. 라마 따주되다 라마 düğünse. 알리디니체. 아니 디네 디네 마주네 아니 월마 카리오스나 다 디네 조지는 아니 별네 아니 점점만 마세네 라비 규바 야이 데스메저도지 요래서
Okay, then for that introduction, and then in the lineage of extensive deeds, there are 14 gurus. In the lineage of profound view, 7 gurus. These are the two lineages with their gurus. Then as one proceeds, one finds Atisha who traveled to the illustrious Atisha who traveled to Tibet, who had as disciple Dromtumba. From Dromtumba emerged a lineage that is the lineage of the stages of the path.
좀 전번에는 그것도 왜 남의 유발을 대한 가담의 유바스 맹 지난 가담의 유바스다. 이 나로다네 수수도 냠내 지단 대생이 보내 가담 맹아바 가담 남림바 아니 가담 슝바 와서 어디게 냠내 나다는 맹게도 다 여래서
From Dromtumba emerged the lineage of the stages of the path, also known as the Kadamba lineage, which involved various forms of practice, sometimes categorized as the practices of the oral instruction Kadamba, the practices of the path Kadamba, and the practices of the scriptural Kadamba.
오야 진짜다 가담 당고 가담 맹아바들 라마 어제 뉴미도 저 가담 맹아바 라마 교름도 오지라 배지나 요바들 뉴 아니 가담 람림바들 라마 쭉 아니 가담 맹아바들 라마 두
말해요. 맹아바디 아니 장사와.
아
그거나.
말 맹아 더 인데 맹아
맹아디 된 람렘바디 주 되네.
아니 당고들 그 점점을 막 유가들 당고 가담 매 이라고 당고도 가리고 가담 맹아바체 이바들 가담 람림 찌들 가담 람림 봐요 아니 디네 예 먼저들아 예스다 예 먼저들아 가담 슝바와 가담 슝바와 들라야 라마 이 계도 계계
the Kadamba oralist has their 7 gurus. The path Kadamba, 10 gurus. The scriptural Kadamba, 8 gurus.
오야 근데 가담부터 슝바와다 맹아와다 가담 빌라마 되게 가가 이 유니가 이 자지 주주고 라마 줍시 와들아야 되게 차단지 세다고
알레.
삼년내시기 다 주중원의 사무데 사무타주고 라마 되게 라마 대 두요와 여기 와들아야 단다 가담 라마 되게 차단 유바지 다디네 유바니디 가다 숨숨 이거 집어 열어서
알레. 네, 아니 그래서 야치 추규기 아니 라마 호라 아니 카담바기 아니 대신 숨 되네 아니 파르초 라양 대신 숨디요 제자 니가라
니가 집어 네 가서 거기 양년이 수 집을 봐 어디서
the oral kadamba, the path kadamba, the scriptural kadamba, these sets of kadamba appear beneath both lineages, both the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view. Beneath the lineage of extensive deeds with the 14 principal gurus, there then appear these kadamba adepts. Beneath the gurus of the lineage of profound view too, they appear.
오예 이 가담 이게 가담 닝바 와서 다디 가담 닝마데 다디 오들 가담 사마데 다단다 제르무 체네 진에 람리디 규베 가담 제르무 체 규베 아니 랑게 라메게 라마 바돌라 오 규바디게 다 안 베지나니 요바들 이슈스요 니가고
Listen, then beneath these, then as we know of the old kadamba and the new kadamba, the foregoing being the old kadamba, then one places the new kadamba masters beginning with Tsongkhapa and in a continuity until up to the present guru of ours. These are included beneath the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, both.
오예 자나가도 제시자데 람리 규바디 맹아디 되니 저기다 라마 손대 치사게 라메 유디게 다단다 타가단 지 사교 되게 시중체네 라마 거단다 라메 장가되게 잡여래서.
Now this explanation is consistent, the explanation of this petition and those included in the petition, is consistent with the painting in the scroll paintings of the merit field and where the respective guru lineages are situated.
라면 소대 첸다 셴나라 양들 라마 망아 유바 융아 유바 데마 보여 레송 망아 바 가질라 딜레 망아 유 가요 다들 망아디 지송치니다 라마 참가듯이 제고 레송.
There will be in other oral instruction traditions different counts to the number of gurus here, the number of gurus there, varying as they will the count between different oral lineages.
that lama mango setamnida, and that Suzuki big setamnida, Chikoya, Yamne, Lama, the dog, but you the chilla, you was about Pahaj and Rangi, Lama Lamadamati, Rangi Lama around him, and Rangi Lame Kusum Tuji, and then the Rangi Mache, Rangi Juji, this is but this is Banda, to zip a Jan Chene, and the Rangi you Tawa Chet, the response.
The visualizations of the guru, the visualizations of the gurus are involved in the overall purpose of the practice of the conferral of blessings from a merit field to one's guru at one's crown, where the blessings penetrate them, and then from the guru, the penetration continues into one's own continuum, such that blessings of body, speech, and mind are inherited in our own minds. And in the penetration of those blessings, then negative karmas and klesha are purified. This is the process of the descent and purification by nectar and light.
Oh, yeah, that is a Migwa Chidamata, Yaji Lama Migwa Chen Chigi, and Duzi Rangula Duzi Ma Pet, and Bageta, Pemni, and Chick. Jachive Lamir, but Towakiela gave the Pajetam Pass Sevache, and Lameju Jachive Lamir Buggy, and then the Rangula Jason, somebody watch the response.
And with that visualization, taking the lineage of vast deeds as the object of awareness, then the nectars descend from the lineage of vast deeds and descend, penetrating one's own continuum and removing all obstacles to and interference with the realization of the lineage of extensive deeds, and with the penetration of those blessings, then to all qualities of that lineage of extensive deeds arise in one, so one should think during the visualization.
Oh, yeah, that's Lama Tigil Sunday Chidu. And then Gobulu de Ma to a Lama Tigiji, Chula Kusun to you. And it's let Hamjema Pub, and Rangi Ma Chulama Pub, and the Rangi Jula Yubegita, and the Samuel Lamji, but don't want you Topala Padu by Gata, and Dandy that is about Harse, and it's Dangula, don't want you Topageta, low. Change my love, yes, somebody they Rangi sent that don't want you to look at Yemen to somebody they will have seen a degree or resonance.
And in the petitioning of the lineage of profound view, the blessings are conferred by the gurus, beginning with Nagarjuna. Their blessings of body, speech, and mind penetrate one's own mind in the descent of nectars from Nagarjuna and the gurus. And then in one's mind, all that interferes with the development of realization consistent with the profound view, particularly the identity view, the view of the intrinsic self, these are eliminated, and one's mind becomes indivisible from the wisdom realizing emptiness.
Why that in Malan Kadam Tambogi, Kadam 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 Nana, Kadam Nima, the Desin Sumir, Kadam Menga, but Lamegi Menga, so big Lamegi Menga, Tamagi, Menga, Yams Lang. And
then in the Kadamba, the old Kadamba include the oral Kadamba. The oral Kadamba are characterized by the consistency of practice in terms of consistency with the inherited oral lineage, and all realizations and blessings descending from the old Kadampa, oral Kadampa, descend in the descent of nectar.
Oh yeah, that is not Lamrim, Lamrim, and in Lamrim. Lamji rimba, Manga Tamji, Lamji rimba, so Jadi Yamsu never in the Lamrimba.
The path Kadampa integrate the oral instructions with the principles of the path, and so they are known as the path Kadampa, then their blessings descend.
Kadam Shumbo, the Kadam Shung, the Shung, Kadam Shung troops in the Shung, Tagaja, water, Shungi, Komatso. Shungi Kadam Lamrimgi, Yamlen Tamde, but Shung took the journey. Yamlena gave a Kadam Shumba somewhere.
The scriptural Kadampa have recognized three principal texts, and their practices are consistent with the intent of these principal texts. The Kadampa who, in their practice, prioritize consistency with these six main scriptures are the scriptural Kadampa.
Oh, yeah. Kadam Sama Jarfa, Kadam Sama Kajin Jarfa, Kadam Nimba, the Sama, the Chebar Karchona, Kadam Sama, the any that. Porque Lamri Ribanyam Shah, Moma to give you, but she Moma to give Shidal set. He gala any that nag Yamlet that 10 duty on that chick to do message by the under to do now that Lamri Yamlet Papa Kula Jag, Yamlet the chill of the journey. When you give a Yam to Lema, that got them Samas and Chores.
And then as there are the old Kadampa, there's the Neo Kadampa, the new Kadampa. The new Kadampa distinguishes itself as the integration of the path, which is the foundation, with the Mandrayana. The Mandrayana is the addition made to the foundation, that is the path practice. The purpose being to make possible realization in a short time, in the span of a single lifetime. In this short time for the development of rapid realization, one integrates the Mandrayana with the path, and the blessings from this lineage are the blessings from the Neo Kadampa.
Oh, yes, that Ming Mambu Chatan, Kadamba, Lama Mambu Tanga, Ming Mambu Tanga Jadi, and the Susu to Yamling, said Janan, Ted Midao, Ming Mother, Shu, Kaga, Chica, Chick, Micho, the Mares.
No. That Ming Mambu Yoga.
Oh, Ming Kubana, Yamlen Chitang is an oh, then Ming to the Chungares, you got it, you got me down to the Chungare. In a Penatanda, Tandanga, Chashavina. Kadam Digi Kanga Yamne Chigi Yuvaina, Kadam Yumare, Savare, Shubare, Namibare, Kanga Chati, or response.
The multiplicity of names comes from the variety of practices, but for our purposes, we are involved in the practices of the old Kadampa and the new Kadampa, the path Kadampa and the oral Kadampa. Many names, but common their practice.
Oh, the direction of Danazo, of the Yamne Chadi, that's Sunday, that's doing Yamne Chidu number. Any that other the Lamrim, that Shagum Chidu number, and that Giorgio Yamne Choro, Giorgio Yamne Chidu, Giorgio Tuba, Yamne Choro, Yamne Chidu, that Lama de Kana set up, Lama to the busy pub, and then busy pub, the Rangi, the Chila, the shoe, Rangi Yugi, that chick, Lugi, that busy Berjan Chidu, some big work condition at the Rangi Semi. And if I think it's you like Jag, Parchisia, think it's you like you will watch it and the gear. Yeah, Rangi put it. The neck of the Lu, they long in then after the Shiva China chair. The Rangi you like the authors of the chair. The Tony to the dog of the king of the Yamne to the Kusu. So the Parisian and then I see the people at the Rangi. Changus and Julia Gag, Chito, gay party to the passe. And it's a decent Julia Gay, we watch here. Don't you talk about the part of Chivy and it does in somebody do what's happening, never said, and that Lameto, we share Julia Gay, we go to the Chatham Carson and share your response.
In the petition, in the practice, of making this petition as one performs it, involving a review meditation. The review meditation incorporates these 6 preliminary practices, which has as its 6th this practice that involves petitioning. The petition is made to the visualized gurus. From the visualized gurus descend light and nectar. The light and nectar is their blessing. The blessing penetrates the mind. Now, whatever you might conceive as happening alongside the penetration of the blessings into your mind, whether it is that with the penetration of the blessings, any of the obstacles to the development of samadhi are eliminated, or that it might be physical, that any of the illnesses that you experience are eliminated, or that with the penetration of the blessings, you experience great contentment, or with the penetration of the blessings, you realize emptiness, or whatever the result from the penetration of the blessing. These blessings are for the purpose of eliminating all that obstructs the development of the mind of awakening, all that obstructs the development of the wisdom realizing emptiness. Principally obstructing that process is identity view.
두지 배는 랑이 단다 셔르고 루디지 공부 동해지 라신 내 나자다 그 영향이 지역을 공부 디나는 봐 두지 배 아니 디나는 배는 두대 동해 지역이 저 유지도 봐 시와체 아니 딜러는 제부도 봐 다와 체와 대비고 체도 저거도 아마도 지금 말람 자로지 배샤변시로 저러지도 샤변원에 비차기 요래서
In the descent of the blessings, the descent of blessings penetrating the mind and the body. And this mind, rather this body that is a body of flesh and blood. One may imagine that all the pains and sickness that beset the body are eliminated. All the causes of pain are pacified. And this is the result of the descent of nectar. And we often perform puja and make prayers with this result in mind. But from this practice, we find this result actually occurs.
어디에 팬도 첨부 요래 세상 딱 하나는 람림 시기 요 람림 시기게 람림 시기 향도 람림 년가 영화로 왔다 람림 이리도 뭐 람림 그도 미국 저 상주선 제와라 아도 집에 계획도 봐참 아니 상주 남의 주 상주선 다 대랑 줄을 제ව 치도 이해상에 뒤집어서 치고를 해서
So there is a tremendous benefit from this particular practice. Here we are concerned with the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. You have come to listen to the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, which has as its subject the elimination, rather the development of the mind of awakening and the elimination of all that interferes with the development of the mind of awakening. That the descent and purification of nectar and light eliminates all interference to the production of development of the mind of awakening, and that with the elimination of all of these interferences and obstacles, the actual realization of the mind of awakening arises in you. This is the result of the practice.
뭐야, 세상 이들 때마다 장주 쌤 줄게 다치도 되지 배변 치고 이거 인들 다 그상 먼저 들어가면 나 가서나 먼저 이 제바 그 당보 단념 다음에 단념 그냥에 제치도록 먼저 미과체 되지 배변 체도 다 드린 먼저 가르치고 마시기로 깨야죠. 선제 탐제랑이 이도 동안 참바께 깨워라 선제 탐제랑 녀도 통과를 대야랑 많이 뭐 시험이나 아니 장주선 줄에 깨야게 누가 또 채워 자기요. 제가 마시기로 깨야지도라 아니 되지 배변 당 아니 미과체요. 그래서
Tadi ane tanyam gom kya dan chakche ta ane tusi bebjang gom yore da dirwa
예, 이거 가진 거자 다 가진 거라고 다 그런 거 교단에 그 나는 개체쇼 개각쇼 마시로
Lessons.
어디 깨야 돼?
No.
그래서 그래서 공부해서
Didn't get any essential letters.
야
Then, for the development of the mind of awakening, we practice the descent of purificatory light and nectar. And we last week described how this technique may be also used with the meditation on neutrality. That neutrality being the foundation for the development of the mind that recognizes all sentient beings as mother. That recognition is critical to the development of the mind of awakening. One must have affectionate love for sentient beings in order to be invested in them. And in order to feel that affectionate love, one must see them as close. Developing the recognition of sentient beings as one's mother is part of this process for the intensification of those conditions, the increase of those conditions for the development of the mind of awakening. Oh, excuse me for one thing.
뭐도 제가 그게 누가 뭐만 쓴지 던져랑 인연서 잡아봐. 아니 벌써 코인용다 그거 인연서 잡아봐. 인연 차다다 그래 인연이 나는 쳐도 좀 마차고 마소고 했어. 그래서 인연이 나는 쓴지 던져랑 많이 맞다. 그래 고민게 리포트만 인생단 시험을 해서.
Also last week, the meditation in equanimity or equality or neutrality toward all sentient beings was our topic. That the person for whom we feel a fondness, the person for whom we feel the aversion, and the person toward whom we are indifferent, that they are all equal and identical. This then underlying the development of a neutral feeling toward them. This was our topic last week. Now we work to recognize sentient beings as mothers, to make them our mothers, to meditate upon this, to consider this, and to think using reason about this.
야, 다른 제들은 나게 많이 벌어도 깨봐 이나 아니 다 영혼 잡아주고 제토래 많이 벌어도 막이는 영혼 잡아주고 로도 가지 뭐 제가 맛이 깨봐지 개체쇼 개각쇼 거기에 빼면 몸에죠 리과만 몸에죠 리과 빼지만도 여봐 제가 개각쇼 쓰기 어려서
Making sentient beings mother is essential to developing affectionate love for all sentient beings. Without this recognition of their being our mothers, there can emerge no affectionate love toward them. This is then the hardest conception of all, and it's the most important conception of all. It doesn't require, or rather it doesn't, we don't utilize very many examples or even logics to justify it. There's one principal metaphor here. It is said that the recognition of sentient beings as mothers, as a practice, is time-consuming, but when one does succeed in it, then the subsequent conceptions, the subsequent impulse is to return the kindness of mothers and all of the rest of the subsequent conceptions. These emerge naturally with the development of this recognition. So it is said in the oral tradition. Now, there's one reason justifying the recognition of sentient beings as mother, just as there's one metaphor that is employed. Now, the one reason justifying the recognition is the very same one as that argument for past lives. The subject where we would apply our intelligence would be that span of time and the events there before the meeting of consciousness with the womb of our mother and the present life that ensued, the time before that. From beginningless time, innumerable births. How is it so? We would consider that. Considering it, there are several thought processes that might be used. The one is the identification of one's mother's mother, one's mother's mother's mother, and onward. That's one. Similarly, in one's own incarnation, one's present incarnation, following from the previous incarnation, following from the previous, and onward. And another is the consideration of the continuity of consciousness itself, that this moment's consciousness is on a continuity with the previous moment's consciousness, and yesterday's consciousness with the day before, and the lifetime before, and onward.
야타 통마 겨와 뭐마게 통마 요 말레스 어떤 디페티시 요요 레소노스
The Toma Mebara.
통마는 겨와 통마는
Now, births that have no beginning, we find when we retrace, pointing to previous moments, and the process of the retracing process finds no end, has no limit, and so we speak of births that are beginningless.
예, 세상에 겨와로 통마 매바 인도 아니 나 심지 되게 마체요 되게 마체요 말했어야기 하여튼 무슨 사기 시요 말해서노스
When it's so, when births are beginningless, then there's no case to be made that one particular sentient being did this and not that, and another did that and not this.
예, 무슨 로종이냐면은 제가는 선물링이 사침부디 마 10시선에 장가 접투고를 접투고를 랑이 깨워 뭐만 장가 접투고를 접투고 말해서 어디를 송거래서
The Kadamba adepts say pulverize the planet and count all the particles, and they are countable. But past lives are innumerable.
어디를 심지 지기 랑이 마셔봐라야 장 매봐 어디를 해서
And that is so for any one person.
근데 그 선물단에 다 심지 선물들이 주제 선물단에 심지 담지 마이바 시에는 가르쳐서 라는 트인치어 이바 마이나다라는 트인치어 이바 선물단에 잡아 아니 용이 잡아 지기를 해서 아니 장주선 랑사지기를 해서
So thinking, then sentient beings all may be recognized as mother, and that which characterizes the mother is their kindness to us. And when all sentient beings are recognized in their kindness to us, then suddenly the mind of awakening will arise.
어떻게 그 상대를 지켜봐 망고요 그런 거를 주제도 좋대샤 아니 곰디 수술만 그런데 저보다 자모고세 수술 잡으러 세선 제만은 주저라나 마시리 공부라서 마시리 공부에 장주선 빌려지어 마시리 망고바 제가 유대들이 계산랑가 요 말에 제가 공개 첨부를 해서
Now time's up, so then the meditation that we would otherwise do here, you'll have to do at home wherever you meditate, and then next week we can meditate on the mind that recognizes all sentient beings as mother, for it is critical to the development of the mind of awakening. It is the soul path, the soul means to the development of the mind of awakening. So then we need to debate this a little bit, so debate it a little bit. Now, if there are any two illustrious disputants, they are Dharmakirti and Chandrakirti in their tradition of the Pramana. And in the tradition of the Pramana, the proof of past existences is made, and it's famous, and this would be our point of departure. So about this recognition of sentient beings as mothers, it entails debate. You have to do a bit more analytic meditation.
Yes, thank you so much for wonderful teaching, as always. I have a stubbornness in my mind with regard to all sentient beings having been our mothers. There's a place where the logic breaks down for me. It is the notion that while I can accept endless past lifetimes, my mind gets stuck around the notion that there might have been like 5 million beings that have been recurring in their relationship to me as mother, infinite numbers of times. Let me see if I can make this more clear. Instead of all beings having been my mother, my mind gets stuck on the idea that it could have been a limited number of beings repeatedly being my mother over and over again, an infinite number of times. So how do I break that in my mind and try to get to the notion that it's not some limited set, even if it's millions and millions and millions in that limited set, it feels like there's a logical block in my mind. Is that making sense, Shai?
Listen, the Kiwangama the Ripper Kiwangama Yube, Ripper the killing you, killing check up on the Yenayan, essentially Tamji, and Ma Shebati, they were and the killing Kawa and Dawa Chandu, Mayana, then at the Tiang, the and the Simpson Tamche, Sarchik, near Amache Sigiro, Yenayan, and the Shimba. Chedan Shimba Chik Yang Yore, and the drop down, and the Ripa Shimba Chik Yore, Pena, and the Simpson Tamche, Kongsu Top, Simpson Kase, Yang Ne Yang Do, so Ama Cheba Dian, Chesigro, and the D insere Samne, and the Simpson Tamche, and the Mashe, and the Gong Gap, the Barche so, Mayana, so did it. Chesan the Simpson Tamche, Mashe Badang. Simpson 탐색이 난내 가시기 양내 양도 아니 살 장매바 아니 마치에바 디야 로당 찍여와 써보셔서
나 저다 냠내 다다 람리나 마시기 냠내 시용도 냠내 시용도 삼로 땅에 들어다 지단 심제 탐제랑이 많이 삼로디 땅 초그래 땅 초그래 땅나 되게 이나야 단단한 좀 심제 탐제랑이 많이 뭐 우두게 두배야 땅 아니 심제 탐제랑이 많이 뭐 고기요 바다 가르치는 두고서나 아다는 아주 이용이 참바께 버래 장주 심게 버래 장주도 쩌라 이용 참바께 버래 이용 참바께 버라 이도 뭐에 나버 까버 티께야 그나라 딱 마시 글로스께야 마시 글로스께야 그나라 심제도 많이 뭐 주바 삼로 땅에 개쳐 버렸어 람게 많이 인다 많이 더버제 제거하고 그 니버 차대를 해서
No, in this practice, the practice the practice in which the recognition of mothers as sentient beings is thought to be so important, does not hinge so much on whether or not, in fact, we find that every last one has been mother or not. It's okay to occupy yourself with that in particular, but to push it and to try to make of that everything is not the principal object here. What we are endeavoring to do is to develop an affectionate regard for every sentient being. And this requires that there be no aversion toward any sentient being. And to develop that, to eliminate that aversion toward any sentient being, it is constructive to conceive of each sentient being as mother. This for the purpose of developing affectionate love toward them. Then the question of each individual case of every sentient being, whether they have been mother or not, this is secondary.
장가지도 말했어. 아니 치마 두고요. 치마 두배지도 아마도 오늘 마두나 치마 두고 말해. 세상 뒤지는 아마 두고요. 그래서 제주도 통에 두고요. 그래서
알레디 기원 아마디 요비지
아마 두고야 돼. 그래. 치마 두배지도 아마 두고요. 그래서
and the proving of past lives is principally for the purpose of proving subsequent lives. In order to prove those subsequent lives, we first prove the previous life. And that's its principal importance. For when the subsequent life is proven, then the purpose of the Dharma is recognized, that it has its place and its purpose. So it is that when the next life is proven, then the question follows, would you have it be a positive one or a negative one?
제가 다 야보거나 다 세티 소야를 한다디 제 맛이 고민로 되게 소버려서.
And if it would be a positive one, then you would begin by meditating on the mind that recognizes sentient beings as mother in this present life.
제가 다 야보고 여바다 제치마고 여바 시행벌 제치마 여바라 제치마 여바디 시행버시도 제가마 시행벌 디지털은 당부 여왕아마도 아니 개와 통매도 선제들이랑 많이 봐도 어떻게 다른 로직 가지고 로직이 깨야게 냠랭이 된다는 가지고 시작한 냠랭이 치고요 그래서
So then if the life to come would be a positive one, the next life would be a positive one, and one recognizes one's investment in that. In order for the subsequent life to be recognized in the first place, proven in the first place, there must be the preceding proof of a previous life. Then, and then with that, we have the justification for a meditation on sentient beings as having been one's mother. All of these steps are involved in actual practice. Now, next when we get to the Dharma of greater scope, let us continue with a lively debate.
Yeah, it's about this. Yeah, there is.
Thank you so much. Can you extrapolate on that? Does that mean that all sentient beings, mothers, all sentient beings were my mother, but does that also mean that those mothers were the mothers to all sentient beings? So all sentient beings are my brothers and sisters.
Gadane de pati de kin sarwa da yene de ane ripadi la tene de ane simchin tamche nyegi amache nyongwa de da ane simchin tamche shimba de da ane de da la pa pe ane simchin tamche susugi amache nyongwa di yemba yena dene simchin tamche susugi ane pamachik pe pungya yingo. The practice has just about fallen right into your lap.
아니 세디기 마트 삼당 삼다 세디기 마트랑 아 텐시보 랑이 녜 타만 이거 나시 콘도야 녜 봐. 배 세디기 아마들 배체네 아니 제용 요되게 들어갑니다. 아 가리치 뭐 이거 삼고요. 그래서
with that recognition of sentient beings as having been one's mother, then one thinks of them, thinks of the kindness of their mother. In this present life, the kindness of their mother, and recognizes the closeness with all sentient beings in terms of the kindness that they experience from their mothers.
제발은 신전을 파 뇌선 당분 뇌비 삼바 깨투 말이 깨산에 뇌 마투야디 고랑 바중고랑 이해도 따사는 쟤는 뇌비 삼바데 까투 그래서
and one wouldn't be able to harm another when they saw the other as their sibling. So you got complete there in your own thought of practice. In the way of the Bodhisattva, in the 6th chapter, we'll have more to discuss along these same lines, and in the Dharma of the greater scope, we have more to discuss along these same lines.
Thank you again, Krishna. Well, this is definitely taxing my cognitive abilities. I find it easier to just accept that everyone and all sentient beings are my mother than it is to actually to understand it through analysis. Easier to just accept it and be fine with that. But I'm going to try to understand it through analysis. So I get the impression that our consciousness maybe has no end and doesn't have a beginning, and we've been inhabiting bodies, lives countlessly. Can you help me understand where consciousness comes from? Maybe that might help you understand and get a grasp on this analysis.
Oh yeah, this is the name. The Chitan the some of Tantan the Yamna Ripa Ruptang. The and the Samuel they were double chado. Penalty Mayana and the Simjin Tamche and Ma Chen Yongwadi and the David Home kill Lenya di Lelabo. The Kilena Digit, Kilene and the Yaman de Chena Yapor. And the Rick Lam Latine. Drop che, and the chene, and the dropati, and the test capudo, some gido, and the chechocho mare, drop chocho mare, Yenaya, seche chene, seche chene di, and the ma simchin tamche ma chen yongwa degi, and the drop tangi, and the samochik tangi, penalty Negoyala. And the number shebadi, Susugi number shebadi, and the top and the Toma Meba Ned and the Badu and the Gunche and the Yobar Kilingora, and the number sheba and the Gunche and the Yobe Tendu, and the young do and the Ningsam Jorgen, Ningsam Jorgen, and the Lu Dramandra and the long night dorne, and then a drosimbarwa. And the Yinayan and the number sebadi, digi jungkung, and the gare shayo.
Honey came on and level, the same killing euros again, and this source on Chixon.
I like Kane and kill limba. Now, what I sense from you is that you speak of an uncertainty from a mind that is already certain. That repeated process of transmigration seems to be accepted already, huh?
Oh yeah, anybody can party what and another dinner because of
Now, with all those here with us today, would you be able to sift through those who have been mother to you and those who haven't here in the room?
Now what they listen, really listen, Samotana, Samotana, any that gave a Tomamena, and a magic around that one chick, Mare, and didn't know the Tongue. That is about that much in a coach or a coach as a Ragi gave a cousin, Mongolian, physical Mamma, you were the killing the Wazon.
Oh, the young it's some. Oh, the young it's some.
Give a Mongolian, but killing the was. Never in that Jawa Kazu Manga Lemba in a Mamma, you were killing the awesome.
In the innumerable past lives that you have inhabited, that for every one of those there is the mother, and in their innumerableness, the mothers too are innumerable. With 100,000 lives, there are 100,000 mothers. So with innumerable past lives, then there are innumerable mothers.
고 갈래 삼고 쌤생도 검거로 막 하면 가리 내까지 가고 검사는 강가 내라고 전혀를 했어.
If you reflect in this way, then the mind, if you reflect in this way, then the mind, because of its plastic nature, the mind will recompose itself regarding this.
쌤이 토마도 타마요. 저도 그냥 쌤 하다 쌤 규제의 규명세디 아주 쌤 차라니 이해적으로 했어. 쌤 참은 육sem라 아니 유체가 요 말에 예, 전부 토마에 받은 요원을 하게 사버 줘래. 육sem라. 쌤 라고도 가도 류지부지도 쌤도 가 그런 지부지도 그래서
Regarding the continuity of consciousness that you speak of, consciousnesses are both of the kind uninterrupted continuity of a consciousness and the interrupted continuities of the grosser consciousness. So when we speak of the uninterrupted continuity of consciousness, this is the uninterrupted continuity of the subtlest form of consciousness. But grosser consciousnesses are with each incarnation decoupled.
이 먼저 냠내기 나 냠내 간가 시사기 냠내기 지역이 내디 쌤 락바티기 파파파가 쌤 참고 차차차차차다 쌤 참을 때 자와지도 아니 아주 나 냠내 지고야 내가 되려서.
Now in the secret mantrayana, the primary practice is of reducing, attenuating the presence of grosser forms of consciousness, so that the subtlest form of consciousness is exposed increasingly. Now we'll leave it there for now, and then on the other question.
Thank you, Yeshua. I have a question around, I can understand that the people come as mothers and that's multiple different people, but what about when people have had mothers show up in their lives that were not mothers? But they were.
Some of those.
experiments.
Yeah, will you ask that one more time?
Well, it's like basically around trauma from mothers. So if people have had mother figures show up for them but that were not nurtured, then what do you do?
Then the sosugi ama and kewadigi amaki and sosolan dupo tanking yena karichega the garden Jen Mayankin.
다 지원 알로종 내자고 그래서 그것도 난 알로종 냐면 알로종에서 저 땅에서
So you've spoken from the tradition of mind transformation, a sort of question that requires a response informed by mind and mental transformation itself.
딱 이스트도 봤다 맞죠. 지단 단단 만족이 배 잘해야게 마스디 마치 가진 첨부 마야고 뒷배 잘 세기 요래서 아무도 디셔도 사야 마 수수비 마 누가 그 최세 거나 마 아마 가시 우리 개와도 개들 요리 가시가 다 오마지 요리 아주 통주를 여러 왔습니다. 동안 여러 왔어. 예 여러 식성.
So generally speaking, we speak of the mother as kind and good. This is a ready example of kindness and goodness. But we are also fully aware that there are of mothers who do not care for their children, who do not protect their children. This too we know of.
이거 계란기다 수수비 냠내 집에 뒤유가도 지속 삼았다나 있나 뭐 마두자래 마두자셔서 그것도 도당치 그런 내주지요 이나양 말한조 대두기 깨지지 시 냠내지가 레드 아니 그 알아 두자 체스는 공로체 그마 누가 지셔봐 있나 콜 판녀야 개만 수수 순덕을 해서
So pardon that is shouldn't get
말에 콜 파듯이라게 뇌에 미세가
other some of the some corrode
삼로티 어쨌다 그 마드 두자인 바디 삼로 땅이 그럼 버저들 뇌에 체복해요 말 수술 순뇌가 많고 열에서
so we know in the human society naturally of the occurrence of mothers who harm their children, who are unkind to their children. We know of it, and when we speak of pleasure and displeasure, satisfaction and dissatisfaction, when we cite the meanness of a person as a count against them and say they did something, they were mean to me, bad to me, and hurt me, the thought, formulation this way does nothing to the situation, to improve the situation. The thought, in fact, merely continues the harm to you yourself.
예, 딱 가르치는 스타일이 아니 수술 가르친 내용을 콜로 기본 가르쳐서나 배나 땅아도 얘기 단다 그런 지당이 좀 야매심을 다 너도 레주를 좀 대시던 시기 예스 배나 가서라 미치 야가 채워도 미치 누가 채워지 아도 레주를 온게 제발레스 대시직 접사로 와서나
listen to 미치 야가치 누가치
라라 야가치 미지도 누가 미치 이여바디 아도 레 수술 레기 온게 제발 지금 대시직으로 와.
So why is it so? I'll begin from the assumption of karmic causality, in that any person's experience of harm done to them by another is consequence of one's own former actions. This is something we've spoken of in terms of karmic causality.
일단 다 사무지 땅이나 랑이 뭔가 제베 레지 뭔도 송매나 아니 그 랑라데 두부 제거야 규제야 사바지 라약하고 열에서.
Now, if it weren't for that preceding negative karma of yours, another person wouldn't come upon cause for harming you apart from that.
랑라 레디 용고야 규제 레지 뭐마지 송아지 다시 야고래서.
So then in one's experience at the hands of another, that it is consequence of one's own actions in the past too, is a perspective. The interpreter removes perspective.
근데 이게 다 디나라 로종 냠네 배팅 사고가 디나라 여러 세배 냠네기 다 간다를 제시 상이 이게 뿌라 캐나다 캐나다는 겹쳐 제소.
Now, this is a response formulated from the practices of thought transformation. Further explanation of this tradition will come. And try to listen without this melting your drums. Because this practice of patience of the bodhisattvas is an extremely adept and elevated practice. Then we'll conclude here and recite our closing verse. So that the virtue of instruction in the Dharma, listening to the Dharma, is not lost, is not reduced, and remains and increases, dedicated to, through these prayers, becoming cause for the recognition of all sentient beings as one's mother. No, and the reason is because if it takes 1 year to develop the recognition that all sentient beings are one's mother, it will take only 1 month to develop the altruistic intent, only 1 month to develop the mind of awakening. where one has the recognition of sentient beings as one's mother, one has drawn quite near to the mind of awakening. So the benefits are tremendous, and recite the closing prayers.
Tenerendo belle sogni kadara yamba kashi sabade lome mare jedo rowa yi nande jave ombo tayu chik
Dema sumbe zera kundu yang jave yangi zewe jesone kembe remba kunzan lamgi sho yene robe gena yeti sho
ragi
jijin tobe lamgi ne shuja zewe rambe tagi rowe yige mumba sejene jawe temba yere yere shi temba yije chogi maga yaga nyapre girbe fode ninje jembe yapa yapa yepende teje sewara jepa sho sege gawe nejon chebe le jo janjo radye gambe gam Hare nange yima bete gawe zeba rinde kyom yere shik Lamzang zhebe tengen ruje jing gege seje medan nime ben Sera kundu gawe mabali namda lamda chawar magere jik Kanse deba chola chushu chi suje bela zimba leise Tude nage tanda roche chi raji yato chugun chi. From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, my Jushu. May I find the best of the paths, the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I hold Buddha's teaching for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most perfect teachings have not yet spread or what spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment, and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path raised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dagi
Jinye sabe gewa di tenang joa guna pendang Kebare jizang lozang rabai tembe nipo rindu seje sho Kare rawe kurwe shinkande pendang dewa malu jungre Chebe zewa tenze gyasuli shabde sinde pade tengu shik Jambe bawa jenda gemba kundu sanghu deyam dejete Deda gunge jesu alu gewa vida dante Dusam shebe gewa dante Allah shodu mabader Lage gewe sawan devyan Zawa shirje razu Janjo senjo rebo she Mage bana kegesh Yawa nyambo mewae Mune kondu mewae I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lozan Dracula Shrine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful sinners, existing counsel, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the brave monkeys in Samantabhadra do, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious Gaskan ones of the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of Bodhicitta that has not arisen or rising grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. So now, be comfortable outside, and the weather's fairly good.
아니 먼저 가면 리버 켈링이 그래서 이다 아니 그 고양 기후 들어서
River Kelin. Ah, River Kelin.
우리는 식까지 걸으셔서
Re-
리버 가면